All right, everybody, let's get this show on the road. Good evening and welcome to the Winnetka Village Council regular meeting for March 5th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everybody in the room to mute your cell phones or other electronic devices. And Bob, can you lead us tonight? Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Sit down, everybody. It's going to be one of those nights. We didn't used to do this, but now we do. Rob, can you please do a roll call for attendance?
I will. Thank you. Trustee Apatow? Here. Trustee Orsic?
Here.
Trustee Handler?
Here.
Trustee Dearborn? Here. Trustee Albinson?
Here.
Trustee Dahlman?
Here.
President Rins.
Here. Now we can pledge. Thank you. All right, Rob, quorum check.
Okay. Remaining two meetings in March. Next Tuesday, the 12th, is study session. Does that all look okay? And then the 21st. Tina, you mentioned you would be out, or any other conflicts? It's a Thursday, right? All good? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Item 4 is public comment. This is the time of the evening where anybody here in the audience can come up to the microphone and share your thoughts with us. I've got the sign-in list here, and our first speaker is Ted.
Hi, Ted Winchenko. So, as you know, most of my comments just kind of, I don't really prepare. It's more just a Zen kind of thing. And I feel like today's are going to be a little more pointed. You know, there's been a lot of angst over how the Park District has been behaving over the last couple of years with the land transfer and things like that. And people have, I think, wrongly concluded that the village is better. I'm sorry. I think the village's actions over the last couple of years have clearly demonstrated that it has not been better. So back in 2000, right, there was the Bertling sidewalk. There was a lot of comments, there were meetings, reports, and at that point they decided we would need to look at this and see how to go forward. And so they temporarily closed the sidewalk until 2020, when the lone homeowners came, spoke with staff. Staff said they would give the sidewalk away. Council met twice in secret meetings where they agreed to give the sidewalk away without public input, and then held one 10-minute open session that was kind of buried under a lot of paper. And now, you know, you're going to get away with it, because although the OMA requires that you review your closed session meetings, the OMA doesn't really say what that means. And so going forward, you can just continue to hide those meetings from the public, although arguably the reason that they were closed for setting a price is no longer requires any confidentiality. You know, back in 2000, the council went through and looked at all the street and beaches. The village owns almost as much, if not more. I didn't do the math, but they own as much lakeshore as the Park District. And yet, those have slowly over time closed. Although, for example, the Spruce Street End Beach was clearly identified as a public access beach by the council in 2000. And the council said we need to maintain that. And there was a staircase until 2019 or 2020, when the stairs started falling apart and the adjoining property owners were complaining, and then village staff said, oh wait, those were only put there for staff access purposes, so we're going to get rid of them. It's not a public beach anymore. And the council has sat idly by and allowed this taking of public land. So people talk about the Park District being, you know, deceptive, or whatever words they use, not being open and honest and hiding things from the public in the land swap. The village is just as bad. You had the opportunity with the sidewalk to correct your unfortunate poor choices. You chose not to. You have the opportunity to reconsider and reopen the street and beaches, which are all public access. Choose not to. I don't know. I don't understand why, as representatives of the entire village, the council chooses to only represent a select minority of property owners and give away public assets to them.
Thank you, Ted. Next speaker is Terry Dason. Oh, and Rocky. Uh-oh. This is not about anything on the agenda tonight, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We come in peace. Good evening. I'm Rocky Flinnerman, a proud 30-year resident of Winnetka and the North Shore. I own Loving Care Pet Services, celebrating its 25th year on the North Shore. And I come here tonight as the market manager, one of us, of the farmers market.
The Winnetka Farmers Market.
I thought "the" was good. I'm here to give you a status report on where we are right now. This has become something of a situation where you threw a cookie in the corner of the room and it became an elephant. That's what we have with the farmers market now. We are now in our 7th year here in downtown Winnetka. Our current status is very good. Most of our vendors from last year are returning, and we will be adding new vendors as well. We had 45 full-time vendors last year, and we had over 60 part-time vendors. Part-time is basically a vendor that wants to come once or 5 times, but financially, if they come more than that, they should become a full-time vendor. What's new for 2024? Well, we went online with our application process. We no longer deal with paper. Well, some, but not a lot.
Less paper.
We found a company called Manage My Market, courtesy of our relationship with the Illinois Farmers Market Association. They're based in Portland. They designed this application, and we just put it out there. We filled out our portion of it, and as a vendor, you just log on, say, I'm a vendor, and you find us. And that's what they've done.
Wow.
The new vendors are finding us through this market app, and we've received over 30 applications so far, for which we charged a $25 application fee. We kind of split that with the processing company in Portland. With the application, they also have to provide us with their temporary food permit, their certificate of insurance, naming the village, the chamber, and the park district as additional insured, their egg licenses, their beef licenses. It goes on, but it's all there in the application. And everything will be stored this year on this very iPad. No more paper. This iPad will live at the market so that the day manager can just refer to it and say, no, you didn't fill this out yet. You owe us whatever. Okay, I go on.
That would be Terry, right?
Pardon me?
The day manager?
No, it's Jim Thompson. He's been with us for about 7 years. As of December, we have a farmers market committee, which is comprised of directors from the Chamber Board of Directors. And this is to eventually ensure that we have, what shall I say, a leadership for the future. Because when I win the lottery, I'm moving to Costa Rica. We also have our volunteer list. We call them ambassadors. And they help us every single Saturday with menial tasks, but they deal with important stuff too. And we have them.
And they are residents from the village.
Another new wrinkle, I think you'll like this one, involves our farmers, of which we will have 8 this year, and our local restaurants. Our farmers will sell their product wholesale or at case price to our local restaurants. And so far, we have 501 Local, Toco, Little Honeycomb, Spirit Elephant, Stacked and Folded, Guildhall, Minos, Guanajuato, and Great Coast Commons from Kenilworth. This is a win-win-win. It's a win for the restaurants. You're not going to get fresher asparagus or fresher strawberries. They were picked the night before. It's a win for the chamber because we're going to get exposure on either a tabletop or a menu or whatever. And it's a win for the farmers because they don't have to lug this stuff back to Michigan. One of our farmers, by the way, is a certified 100% organic guy from and husband and wife, from Benton Harbor, Michigan. They have a beautiful website, and what they do is they publish what's fresh that week. People can log on, you can log on, anybody can log on, buy this stuff, you prepay for it, but you'll pick it up at the market. We are continuing our relationship with the Go Green Winnetka people. And as far as dates are concerned, our first stakeholders meeting, that's where we cross the Ts and dot the Is. Police, fire, village, public works, park district, and the chamber will meet on the site on April the 11th. Our second meeting is scheduled in late May on the 20th. The market opens on June the 1st, closes 22 weeks later on October 26th, 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., rain or shine. Now, we have bags, courtesy of the village, by the way. And, you want to do this?
Well, we're going to do it together.
Okay. Now, there's a price involved with this.
I thought you brought me a sandwich.
By accepting this hat, you have been deputized. Come on, I'll put it up. By that I mean, if someone comes up to you on Saturday morning while you're wearing that hat, a total stranger is going to ask you, who's got the best corn, who's got the best tomatoes, and where's the coffee? It's your job to tell them where.
You have one for my wife?
Any questions?
She will kill me if I don't bring her home with
No questions?
Is this a sneaky way to get us to be employees?
Of course.
Rocky,
me. Ambassador.
Well, of course.
Rocky, a general
Yeah.
number of the audience that's coming here? In
On a
general?
weekly basis or yearly?
Weekly.
Depending on Mother Nature, between 1,500 and 2,000.
And I guess I talked to Elizabeth, how many people stay in shop in our stores?
80%.
Yeah,
You can do the math.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was setting you up there just in case you wanted to know.
Thank you very much, Rob. I really appreciate that.
That's great.
No more? Okay.
Thank you.
Rocky. Thank you. And thanks, Terry. Okay. Next on our list is John Phelan.
Actually, my comments are for an agenda item.
Oh, okay. And Marie and Bruno, I think you're for the agenda item too. Not now. Not now? No. So, all right. Well, that ends our open public comment session, and we'll move forward. Reports, trustees. We'll start with Tina. Any report?
No report.
Kirk?
No report.
Bob?
No report?
Kim?
No report.
Bridget?
No report.
And Rob?
No report.
Village attorney?
No report tonight.
Village manager?
No report this evening.
And village president, I have no report. All right, next up, something that we wait for with bated breath every year, the Landmark Preservation Award presentation. And every spring, the Landmark Preservation Commission accepts nominations for construction projects within the village that help preserve the unique history and charming characteristics of Winnetka. The Landmark Preservation Commission Chair, Jack Coladarchi, is here to present the awards. Come on up, Jack.
Thanks, Chris. Once a year, we get, the commission gets to do this fun aspect. The rest of the year, we preside over demolition permits, and that's a big part of it. And for a commission of members who are architectural historians, architects, village historians, all love the village, that can be hard. But this is this is what we like. This is the best part of it. One of the houses, 740 Ardsley, is actually a direct, is here because of action that Rob spearheaded in part to save the house. I like this. This is the fun part of the job, to go and look at the successes that people have made with their houses. The factors that drive people to tear down and build some lovely house in place of a historic house are huge. The land here is enormously expensive, it's very valuable, and people want what they want. And a lot of what we get in front of the commission are either developers or homeowners who say, well, we've been looking for the perfect place to build our dream house. And it just so happens to be where you have an essential part of the village of Winnetka. In the last, not this meeting, but the one before, the Clement Stone House has been put up for demolition. And you all may remember that house at the end of the block, at the end of Cherry Street. It's a beautiful looking house. The last owners put a whole huge Olympic swimming complex, in essence, in the front yard. But the people who are going to build there said, well, we looked around and it was suggested that we look in Winnetka for available land to build our dream house. And they're going to tear down the Clement Stone House and put something in. And so when you look at that, and now not every house that comes before us for demolition is the Clement Stone House, obviously. There are a lot of houses that are kind of junky, that have really expired in terms of their usefulness, or that have not been cared for and they fall apart. And we know that, we recognize that. So when somebody makes the decision to remodel or restore, then it's outstanding. I mean, because it's easy for people who own the land to go, you know what, I want 12-foot basements, and I want a heliport on the roof, and I want, you know, whatever it is that they want in a new building that makes them think tearing down the old one is better. So when people do this, outstanding. It's wonderful. This is what we want. This all happens, other than Ardsley, the other changes, they happen outside of us. They're not direct results of what the Landmark Preservation Commission does. They're the result of people who give a darn about the way the village looks and the historic aspect and what makes Winnetka Winnetka. So again, that's a long-winded lawyer way of saying, this is a good day, and I like making these presentations. And again, I apologize. I get paid by the word, so I'll just go on forever. Oops, wait, I think I went too far. Okay, so up here we have, and I'm going to sort of go through this and read them out loud, because I think that for the people who are present as well as the commission, it's important to know what it is you can get an award for. And we have restoration. The project restores the property to its original appearance using original plans and required research. The project may be full-scale or partial restoration. An example of a partial restoration would include the replacement of an asphalt shingle roof with the original roof material, or the restoration of a porch to its original condition. Rehabilitation, and we have rehabilitation tonight too. We have restoration, rehabilitation. The project is sympathetic to the building's original design. Original plans and research materials are not available, but project upholds the spirit of the building style using materials, use of materials and finish. Room additions or garages represent examples of rehabilitation. And then one that we don't get very often is new construction, emphasizes the project's compatibility with its neighborhood. In this respect, issues regarding style, massing, scale, color, looks like trees, and context to adjacent properties feature in consideration. So I would encourage all of you, everybody in this room, we like to have these properties, and they're ones that are around, and the property owners themselves have to sign on to this, and it doesn't do anything. I mean, you don't get suddenly the government shows up and says, now that you're historic, we're going to, you know, seize your front yard. It doesn't have, it's just an award. You get a plaque, and the recognition that you're saving part of what makes Winnetka a special place. So I encourage people, if you see something that looks good, approach the owner and see if you can get them to agree to go into this process. Now, let's see here. So the first house is 500 Maple Street. The owner is Nan Greenow, who I'm sure all of you know, who lives in a landmark house. Restoration, including reconstruction of the chimney and tuck pointing with the original mortar color of medium brown, replacing a white grout. Again, saving the property rather than doing something different or not being careful in restoring it. So Nan, thank you very much, Nan, for doing that. Do we, oops, I'm sorry, where did Chris go? Oh. Sorry about that. Nan, yes, please. And then, this is your contractor. So, there's the award for you.
And this is for me.
That's for Ann, yeah. Thank you very much.
Could I say a little something?
Of course.
Okay, so 34 years ago, I was told that the house could not be redone. The mortar was too hard, it was the wrong kind of material, and it had been done very badly in the 60s, and there was no way to fix it. Because if you went through that hard mortar, the bricks would crumble, which is not a great plan. So Juan convinced me that, no, I can do it, and he showed me a couple of samples, and that's how we got it done. Juan Corona.
All right. Thanks, Nan.
Thank you. So and again, that was a restoration of the classes of things that we do. The next one, if I can get it to jump. This is 656 Ardsley Road. The owners are Linda and David McLaughlin. Architect is Chip Hackley of Hackley and Associates. And if you take a look at the pictures up there, you can see it's great that they saved this house. I mean, and again, as I say, there are people who come, young people from the city, maybe old people too, who drive around looking for large lots of land, and we have a house here where that happened, and they say, that's where my dream house is going. And they will tear down what's ever there. They don't care about the history, and they don't care about what they're actually doing to the nature of the village or the character of the village. In this case, we have a project scope is restoration of a 98-year-old estate home to French Normandy architectural style. The improvements included a new chimney, reconstructed breezeway, new matching windows, and installation of stucco and natural stone exterior materials. So again, this is, again, I would love to say that, yes, we had something directly to do with it, but we didn't. It just, the people that this appeals to or who do this kind of work did it without us, being involved directly in the process. So Linda and David, are you, if you could come up, and Chip Hackley, I think you're here as well. Could we give him a hand?
Took them enough, but it was obviously worth it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So just want to say that if you ever get a phone call from your spouse saying, I know you're in the middle of watching a soccer game, but can you come see this house? Run for your life. Yeah.
That, well, I have to say the house is remarkable, inside and out. It is, I know what it took, and I know you might not do it again, but it is.
No, one time.
One
One time.
But it is spectacular and it shows.
And,
Well
yeah.
done. And all of you, thank you.
Great job, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next house, 740 Ardsley Road. The owners are Neil and Angela Hughes. The architect is Chip Hackley, who's just here. And the project scope, restoration of historic Tudor-style home with modern improvements while maintaining most of its original materials and architectural integrity. Improvements, including a one-story addition with updates to electrical, plumbing, and windows. And then you can take a look at the pictures and see the end result. And again, outstanding. This was a house that came before us for demolition, and the owners or the purchasers had made the declaration. Well, this is our dream house because it's a huge lot, and we want to build a huge house on it. And through the interaction of the Landmark Preservation Commission and Rob Apatow and the neighbors in the area, the purchasers were like, we didn't realize. We didn't know how important this house was to the neighborhood. And they found another property in the village to go to. And they tore that one down, but we saved this one, and again, a beautiful, beautiful restoration job. So again, one of the ones that makes us happy on the commission, and obviously the village and the council. Let's see. Are the Hugheses present? I don't think so. If you could come up.
Why don't you stay up there, Chip?
Yeah, interesting, kind of a very interesting story behind it. I was first interviewed by the people that purchased it to tear it down, and lovely people. And as I walked the property, I had this kind of heavy feeling. And I'm not a preservationist. I mean, I do a lot of that kind of work, but I understand houses have a lifespan, and sometimes they do have to come down. But I just felt like I can't be part of this. So we had a nice meeting. I went home that night and told my wife that I think I passed on a huge contract by telling somebody that I wasn't really right for the project. And then the Hughes bought it and called me, and I got to do this. So it worked out. It was an enormous undertaking. The house was in pretty challenged shape, but they really deserve a tremendous amount of credit for what they put into it, what they preserved, what they allowed me to convince them to not remove or extract or alter. And we worked together to make things, really kind of consistent with the way people live now in a house that was not designed for the way people live now. So it was a fascinating project, and I'm glad we were able to save it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chip.
And I think his comments illustrate exactly the problem that we face on the commission, or as people who want to preserve the look and character and the history of the village. The expense required to maintain a property like that, or to bring it back up to standard. It requires a lot of commitment. And again, I think that thanking the owners who choose this recognizes that. Okay, in our last house, 1100 Pelham Road. The owners are Kim and Thomas Handler. I don't know, is Kim present?
I hope so.
And the architect is Chip again. And you can take a look up at the pictures here showing showing the work that was done. And again, we have a rehabilitation of a 100-year-old home designed by a noted North Shore architect, Russell Wolcott, with materials more consistent to the original design. The improvements included a new garage, reconstructed chimney, and modernization of living spaces with light-colored brick facade of the original Milwaukee cream and Chicago common brick. Kim, could you thank you for saving the house? We appreciate it. I imagine it was a somewhat involved project. Yeah, I think so. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to walk up and bring it to you. Thank you. And
Stand up again.
yeah, absolutely. No, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I do want to thank Chip and my general contractor also, Tony Giorgetto. Together, the two of them, obviously Chip came up with a beautiful design, and Tony and his crew executed it so beautifully. This talks about Milwaukee cream and Chicago common brick. They went to numerous brickyards to find the right mix of reclaimed brick to make it look totally seamless. And Chip's design, I interviewed several architects and builders, all of who have very fine reputations. But when most of them found out that I needed a new roof and rebuilding 4 chimneys and windows and doors and a driveway, they were all like, it's just a lot easier on this piece of property to tear it down and start all over. But that's not what Chip does at all. And we found it was a great partnership, and we came up with, as a result, a home that I think, so it's 101 years old now, and I think it'll take a family into the next 100 years. It really is beautiful. So thank you. And thank you to the commission, because, yes, I know, where did Chip go? Obviously, those are a group of individuals who care so much about, about the housing stock in Winnetka, as so many of us in this room do, and that the beautiful housing stock that we have does make Winnetka, I think, what it is. So, thank you.
And didn't we also have to go through a little variation process?
We did, but that was,
Kudos to that process.
yes,
when
because
when
that made it
works,
really work. Yeah, so anyway, so thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Where'd it go? Oh,
Thank you. Okay, and I believe you are all free of me now, but thank you very much for helping us hand out these awards. And again, as I say, the more that we can do to try to save what the village looks like and the way that the way we interact with our historic village, the better. So again, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Can I just make a comment real quick here? And I have a real soft spot for the LPC. I think it's, from what I can tell, probably one of the most challenging commissions to be a member of because of what Jack was saying. These are people dedicated to preserving the housing stock like we saw tonight, beautiful homes, and 95% of what they do is see these beautiful homes go down. And I would just encourage anyone that's up here or on the various commissions or just residents in general to fortify their mission and do what we all can to help preserve some of these beautiful homes, because when you see these 4 homes and what the people did, it's just astounding. So
You almost wish you'd get people to come and take a look at the before and after, the ones that want to tear it down to
Absolutely.
say, look what can be done. It's remarkable.
So thank you, Jack, and thank you. I think Paul was here, and Rocky, you have more on the farmer's market?
Just on your street in Arborvita and Pine, is that a tear down, or what is that?
I'm not sure. We'd have to have David Schoen here to answer that. It's a.
He's here.
David, the one across from the community house, is that it's a redo? What is that?
That's a major renovation within it, major addition.
Okay, Rock, there you go. Yeah, good question though, Rocky. Thank you.
Anybody else want to add comments? You good? All right, we'll move along then. And thank you all for all the hard work you've done on your properties. I've been a rehabber my whole life, so I appreciate the hard work, and especially some of the unbelievable craftsmanship that all these projects have demonstrated. It's really fantastic. So, all right, well, we'll move forward now, and item 6, the consent agenda. Does any trustee wish to remove any of the items on the consent agenda for a separate vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the final form of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Voice vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. Next page. The next item is the approval of the consent agenda, and I will ask Rob to read the items on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Approval of the Village Council minutes for the February 6, 2024 special closed session and February 6, 2024 regular meeting. Approval of the warrant list dated February 9th, 2024 through February 22nd, 2024 in the amount of $1,345,795.01. Resolution number R21, 2024, approving an extension agreement for professional services with Strand Associates Incorporated for engineering and other related work related to the design and construction services for the water plant. Resolution number R22, 2024, rejecting all bids, waiving bidding requirements, and awarding a contract to Siemens Industry Incorporated for the purchase of 15 kV circuit breaker. Resolution number R23, 2024, approving a contract with the Okanite Company for the purchase of 15 kV underground cable. Resolution number R26, 2024, approving a non-exclusive license agreement for the use of the Elm Street train station parking lot and station park for a farmer's market. Resolution number R29, 2024, awarding a contract to Total Elevator Service LLC for the elevator modernization project here at Village Hall. Resolution number R30, 2024, approving a contract with Northern Divers USA Incorporated for intake cleaning and video inspection. Resolution number R31, 2024, waiving bidding requirements and awarding a contract to Bosick Ford for the purchase of a vehicle. Resolution number R32, 2024, extending a contract with Christie Weber and Company for landscape maintenance services, approval of an annual outdoor seating area permits, and approval of the amended Village Council meeting schedule for 2024.
Thanks, Rob. All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
It'll be a roll call vote.
Trustee Apatow?
I didn't.
I made them.
You made the motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Trustee Alvinson?
Yes.
Trustee Apatow?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving forward on to ordinances and resolutions. Our first one tonight is ordinance number MC04, 2024, amending Chapter 15.60 of the Winnetka Village Code concerning window sign regulations. This is up for introduction and adoption possibly. Tonight, council will consider the recommendation of the Design Review Board to allow village staff to administratively approve window signage on both the interior and the exterior of a window.
With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. It's that simple. What I'll say is in January 2023, the Village Council adopted amendments to the sign code regulations to allow staff to administratively approve certain window signs, while other signs still require Design Review Board approval, including those signs that would be applied to the exterior of the window. Since then, the board and staff noted that the board was approving window signs applied on the exterior, and therefore the board is unanimously recommending that the council amend the code to allow staff to administratively approve a window sign that's applied to either the interior or exterior of the window.
Great. Anybody up here have any questions on that? Any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back up. Anybody interested in moving straight to adoption? We good? Okay. So I'll follow that script then. First off, I need a, no. Oh, we're waiving intro, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to waive introduction of ordinance number MC04 2024?
So moved.
Second?
Voice vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And the next one is, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number MC04 2024?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Trustee Alvinson. Trustee Handler.
yes.
Trustee Dearborn.
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman.
Yes.
Trustee Apitoff.
Yes.
Trustee Orsic.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we have, looks like a series of resolutions regarding outdoor dining agreements. The first one, we're going to take these one at a time? Okay. The first one is resolution number R24, 2024, approving an outdoor dining agreement with Paradise Food Italia LLC, doing business as Toco. Council will consider Toco's request for outdoor dining on Chestnut Court, and our Assistant Village Manager, Kristen Kazinas, is here to walk us through this one.
Thank you, President Rentz and Council. As you may recall, in the spring of 2022, Council met in a study session to review various options for a new policy to consider requests to close public streets for outdoor dining. Council consensus was to implement an approval process for outdoor dining via a license agreement. This option balanced efficiency and transparency of the approval process with the opportunity for public input. In addition, each request could be considered on its own merits. We are here today to consider a request from Toco to close the south side of Chestnut Court between May 1 and September 30th of 2024 on Tuesdays through Saturdays from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and on Sunday from 4:30 to 10 p.m. Staff met with key stakeholders on Chestnut Court to address concerns from the previous season regarding customer access to parking, the volume of outdoor musicians, and multiple musical acts on both sides of Chestnut Court. Although the key provisions of the license agreement are consistent with last year, there are a few changes to address these concerns. This year, the agreement outlines that Toco may play music in the outdoor service area during the permitted times on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and that music must be in compliance with the village code section regarding nuisances. References to any operation during COVID-19 were thankfully removed this year, and the license area was slightly reduced to exclude 2 parking spaces on the southeast end of Chestnut Court. Finally, the street closure time was reduced to exclude the months of April and October, since we determined that weather conditions were not consistently conducive to this extended time frame, which was as a result of COVID. So at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions about the Toco license agreement, and I know we have here people interested in making comments as well.
Sure. Questions for Kristen?
Were the 2 spaces excluded to accommodate Bella's?
Yes, that was part of the decision to exclude those spaces, since Bella's is open until 6 p.m.
So even though they expressed concern about Toco beginning at 5, they're okay with making sure, still opening at 5, but as long as there's the 2 spots available for customers?
So in addition to the 2 spots, there's one other change that's not in the license agreement that we are administratively making to accommodate those customers that may be visiting Bella's and Lakeside. The parking spaces behind Village Hall, the signage currently says 30-minute parking until 6 p.m. And we're going to change those signs to say 30-minute parking until 4 p.m.
Okay.
And what that does is, for those customers and clients who are arriving near the end of the day, they'll now have the availability starting at 4 to park in those spaces for the duration of their appointment, not needing to consider that 30-minute limitation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll open this up for public comment, and I know, Bruno, you had signed up for, now you can talk. Me too.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to say, the first time I heard about Winnetka, it was in the movie Mamma ho perso l'aereo, Home Alone. And then, so after 20 years in downtown, I really found my root here. The place where I feel comfortable because the community, the people. And it's been a wonderful experience for 4 years and a half. And I bring 240,000 people in this 4 years in Winnetka. A lot of people don't even know where Winnetka was. And not only that, 16 days ago, I even told the Pope why I have a private audience with the Pope in Rome, and I told him about Winnetka. He don't even know what it was. So Winnetka now is blessed from the Pope.
We'll take it.
Yes, I take it too. It was a very emotional moment for 45 minutes with them. So the 240,000 people definitely generate a lot of money in a sense of growth. But, we don't use only the money for us. We donate over $200,000 to school, the fire department, the police department. I mean, we really embrace this community like a family. Where I was born, I found, a place where I really feel good. Everybody in the street to say hi to me, I say hi to them. And, and I feel very bad that I maybe a few people, neighbor, they are, kind of, we create a bad energy. I'm sorry, I feel very bad, the music and this and that. But, I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful for the council. I'm very grateful for Winnetka. I'm looking forward to do more. I own a few property now in Winnetka. I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna do better. And yeah, and then, I'm very respectful of the license you guys give me. And yeah, I'm just to feel very good here.
Wonderful.
So don't push me away, otherwise I'm going to Lake Forest.
Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you very much for having me.
Come on
I
up.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, friends. So, my name is Marie, and I'm one of Bruno's assistants. Oh, I know I'm short. Sorry. Hi. So my name is Marie, and I'm one of Bruno's assistants. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for accommodating the parking space, moving it to 4 o'clock so Bellas can have their patrons still, visit get their nails done and do their massages, and we can still open up the sidewalks. That's very nice of you to do that for us. And we also want to just press the issue that we'll be very respectful of the area. We'll keep it nice and clean. We'll make sure we don't have any of the clutter on the sidewalks. We'll remove it in a prompt and timely manner. And just as for the noise, not noise, but the noise, what do you call it, ordinance for the music, us included, and for Good Grapes, who also does the music on the days we don't do it, we just ask to keep it at a respectful level. Just because, our guests are dining, they want to have conversation. Good Grapes wants to have a glass of wine, sit and talk. We have residents that are in the neighborhood that wants to be able to, watch TV if they want, and not hear a rock concert every night. So we just ask that the level be kept a comfortable level for all, so we could still talk while we're dining and eating. And yeah, that's about all. Anybody have any questions at all?
I think we're good.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this item? Come on up.
Hello, I'm Yelena Kaminsky. I run Bella's Day Spa, and we've been around since 1980. I've never been here because everything was running smoothly and we did not have any issues. And I did not have to bother anybody. But right now, well, let's start from the fact that we were on Lincoln Street first, and then we moved to Elm Street, stayed there for 20 years, and about 14 years ago, we moved to Chestnut Court, right next to Toco Restaurant. And there's some issues started to appear. The issues are obviously with the parking, but, you know, talking about respectful neighboring, you know, that's what I'm looking for, to have Toco respect my business as well. Because the issue is, let's say if my clients come in later in the day, if they leave their cars in those two spots, or how can they leave their cars in those spots? What if they're occupied already by somebody else? What are we gonna do about it? But the issue is that their musicians are staying in my space, in my doorway, okay? And sometimes at the end of the day, I cannot leave the salon. The issue is that when our customers are parked by the salon and we move to this place because of the location and because of the availability of the parking. Right now, I'm facing these challenges. We have some elderly people who would like to come in and use their services towards the end of the day. We have people who play tennis. They have injuries. So they do need this availability. So I don't want any waiters from Toco to stare down at my clients and, you know, tell my clients, hurry up and leave the salon by 5 o'clock. Okay, this is not right. That's not what neighbors do. And I'm very happy. I love my business. I love to do what we do. We do massages, manicures, pedicures, waxes. And I want my clients to come in and relax and, you know, forget about everyday problems. But, you know, this is not the case right now. So obviously we want to resolve this situation. So my question is, those two parking spots, they will be available just for Bella's Day Spa, and how would you guarantee that, you know, Toco employees are not parking there, or Toco cars are not standing there, just taking away those two parking spaces? And again, you know, I don't want anybody to stand in front of the salon and ask my incoming clients, make sure you leave by 5 o'clock. So I just want to bring it up to you because it's a concern for me. You know, I want to smoothly run my business, and I don't want to stress out every single time when something like that happens. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen, what about the issue about making sure those parking spaces are available?
So it's been a long-standing practice that in the business districts, we can't guarantee spaces for particular businesses. It's a very common request to be able to label a space adjacent to a business as my space. So while we can't sign it or guarantee it for Bella's, I do believe that changing the signage to the 4 p.m. limitation on the half-an-hour parking all behind Village Hall is going to provide much more available space for Bella's clients that aren't right in front of their store, but very close right behind Village Hall.
Can I, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm a big believer in the outdoor dining, a big believer. That said and done, if I had a business that was impacted, and it's for half the year, most every day of the week. And I think I would want some accommodation when 5 o'clock hits. If that was my business, I'd be with her. I want those spots so my customers, at least, since she's making an accommodation, I would think we would do the same thing. So at that time at 5, there are cones or whatever you can put out there to protect that for her customers. You know, I'm a big believer, but we can't, to do this dining, we can't harm other businesses in the meantime, is my concern.
Any other thoughts, ideas?
Can I ask a question?
We haven't designated parking spots. We have some like flasher zones, which effectively function, like in front of Town and Oak. I mean, it effectively functions as a spot for them, for people to do pickup. And I think we have a couple others. So, I mean, it's not labeled as such, but we've taken some action to help the business.
Right. Added 15-minute temporary parking in strategic areas in all the districts.
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
not
it's
specifically
different. It's not
labeled.
specific, but
Right.
effectively it
But they're
sort of
shared.
becomes.
They're
yeah.
shared.
But I think she's looking at something different, which is when 5 o'clock hits,
Those would become.
those are her business. I think hers is the only left business on that, other business on that street, correct?
On that side of the street,
On that side of
yes.
the street. So hers is really the only one that might be impacted by cars, dining, or other things, so.
On that side,
That's a little
yes.
bit more of an unusual situation to me, to protect those spots.
How many spots are going to be freed up by changing behind? Because there's at least, I think there's 2 handicap. If we go to the 4 o'clock, behind, right here, I guess, along
So
the
from
west
memory,
side of.
behind Village Hall, there's 1 accessible, close to the
1, 2.
7 total. Thank you, Teresa.
So that's 7 additional spots that are within 50 feet.
Is that right, Kristen? There's, not along Chestnut, but behind
Along
Village Hall
Village
here?
Hall,
there's-
Right here on the west side.
So you're talking on the,
So right behind Village Hall here,
Not
on both
here.
sides.
Right
No,
here.
behind
on
Village Hall.
both sides, so over there and here?
Yes.
7, okay.
And it might be helpful to know how many clients come between 5 and 6. Like, is it that many? I mean, it seems like if that adjustment, because most people coming to Village Hall have got, their businesses, I'm sure you're making this change because most of the business is typically done by 4.
Correct. We close at 5, and additionally, there's parking for Village Hall in the center of the main lot.
Okay. So is the thinking that, kind of trying to come up with a compromise, the thought was that there's probably, maybe a few customers coming in between 5 and 6? I mean, do we know how many customers?
So generally, just from no scientific data, just personal observation, those spots behind Village Hall turn over frequently and are not heavily used towards the end of the day.
Do we know how many clients Bella's has on a regular basis between 5 and 6?
Elena, would you like to speak to that?
Elena, do these, and I'd like to know too, do these spaces right behind Village Hall here help?
Yes, but not at all the cases, because we do have clients who are elderly. We have clients who are even 102 years old. Why should she walk all the way from there? Some people come with crutches. Again, like I said, so many people play tennis here. They get injured, this and that. The thing is, some people don't come at 5 o'clock. Let's say they came in at 4 o'clock. They came in for facial. Facial takes an hour and a half, right? People come after work, right? When they're done with their, they don't want to receive a phone call from police, hurry up and move your car. They're there to come in and relax and enjoy their day, enjoy their evening, to forget about, their kids, their nonsense, what's going on at home, at work, all that. So it's not how many people. It's, to me, I care about every single client, because I'll tell you honestly, there are 19 salons within 5 miles radius, okay? If there is, it drives people away. If they don't have accommodations, they go around the corner. Why would they lose even that one customer? It doesn't matter, and that one customer might come in on a weekly basis. It just, if you're trying to be fair, let's just be fair. Let's come up with some kind of solution that would be great for everybody. I don't mind outdoor dining, and it's great to have restaurants in Winnetka. Wonderful, brings people in. But at the same time, I've been around for 35 years. Don't step on my feet.
So, Elena? Would Bruno's commitment that you heard this evening, he sounded very contrite to me, that he was concerned and wanted to do better. I mean, does that do anything for you? Or
I
give
don't
you
know.
any comfort at this point? That
It just, it's not personal. I don't want to take it as a personal thing. This is a business.
I
okay?
understand.
Let's say if your wife has a business and she comes home and complains to you that somebody always tells my customers to leave at 5 o'clock. Somebody kind of pushes your customers away, and you're constantly stressed out over that. How would you feel?
But that wasn't
It's a business. Do I
the question
believe
was.
what he said? I
no,
don't
Elena,
know.
I hear what you're saying, I heard Bruno, basically said he was very sorry for the things that had happened in the
I
past.
don't know. The police all of a sudden shows up at my doors at 5
That's in
minutes
the
to 5
past,
o'clock, and how do they know that it's our customers and that those customers don't belong to other restaurants, to other stores are open at that time. So I just want to run my business smoothly the way how it's been for 35 years, and that's all I'm asking for, just to be fair and give me an opportunity not to be stressed out over this particular
If I look
issue.
at this map, if I understand correctly, it looks like under the new scenario, there are 5 parking spots. It looks like 5 would no longer be available after 5 o'clock, where it used to be 7. So now there's 5 that will, at 5 o'clock, if someone, they could be at the post office, they could be anywhere, would have to move their car, right? So now if we've eliminated those 2, plus we've added 7 behind Village Hall, now there's 7 full parking spots all within a close period of time that not only your clients could park at, but Lakeside and others. So I think that is a big improvement over what would have been happening last year.
But
And
they have to be there
cre-
before 5, otherwise that street's closed down.
Pardon?
Those spots are unusable if it's after 5, because you
Right.
can't back into those spots.
Right, but that would be pretty much for anybody.
Kim,
And I mean,
are we bringing this back up here for council comments?
Yeah.
Or-
Well, I mean, we're kind of.
Are we just kind of talking about this? If I can just.
Go ahead.
If you don't
Okay, you
mind.
can sit down, Elena. We're gonna.
Thank you.
We're gonna see if we can figure something
Yeah.
out here.
The-
Oh, I'm sorry, Teresa. You want to come up and let Teresa say her thing first, and then we'll dig in.
I just want to add on to that bad energy comment. So last year on July 14th, Bruno Abate physically tried to intimidate me and verbally abused me in front of 100 people. A lawyer who was at his restaurant came to me the next day and offered to accompany me to the Skokie courthouse to get an order of protection. So the bad energy is from one person. I chose not to do that because it's a small village, but he does have a letter of warning that was written under legal guidance that he has to stay 100 feet away from me at all times. So I'm really not fond of this, like, I'm contrite and I'm there. So I just wanted to add that as a little bit of color of what it's like trying to work with certain people. And I just think that's an important factor. And I've
Okay.
also, the federal government also has never gone after me for stealing tips from employees.
That's
And
enough, Teresa.
It's on a public website,
Teresa,
Chris.
that's enough now. No, and Bruno, no, Bruno, sit down.
Okay.
We'll figure it out here. Okay, that's enough. It's enough. Okay, now we're going to bring it up here for conversation. Go ahead, Bob.
If you don't mind. And part of this, I first became aware of this issue 6-7 months ago because my wife is a longtime customer of Bella's, knows Elena, and Elena talked to Jane about this, and I think probably other people up here, maybe spouses, are also customers of Bella's. 40-year business in the village, so on and so forth. And so this was brought then to my attention, and I encouraged Jane to encourage Elena to speak with village staff. And she did, I believe, speak with Kristen, and then Liz got involved, and they've had conversations, and probably with Teresa and with Bruno and so on, to try to move this forward. And I think that what we have here is a situation that's really good. We've activated that area over there thanks to the outdoor dining. It hasn't been without differences of opinion over the past 3 or 4 years up here. There are people that have been up here. I know one guy that sat next to me for a few years who voted against us every darn year because he felt that we were just giving this to the restaurants. And then other people said, well, including me, I think it's a public benefit and this and that. And then we had the fellows from Hubbard Woods come in and say, gee, we have this space and we pay for our own space and we're giving this space away to these restaurants and it's just not fair. So this is in a sense, a gift, I think. But we've had some growing pains here. And my view of this is that the train has gotten off the track and we need to lurch it back on the track and level the playing field between these neighbors. And both Liz and Kristen were very kind and explained to me yesterday and today, their thinking on this and the license agreement, and they know what I'm about to say, and that is I do not think that this license agreement goes far enough. I do not think that this license agreement protects the neighbor that has been, where the playing field has not been leveled. And Kristen, you can give your side of this. I know there are expectations on what should happen going forward. I think those expectations should be memorialized in the license agreement. We can go through those, what those expectations are. I think there should be consideration. There are 7 parking spots along Chestnut there on the south side. We've talked about the 2. The tables go up and through spot 5. My thought would be that spot 5 would also be available until 6 o'clock unless and until that spot is opened after 5. If that spot is not taken at 5 o'clock, no one can come in on Chestnut. So I would say the tables could be set up. But I think spots 5, 6, and 7 should be available until 6 o'clock. We cannot, I don't know, Elena, how we can reserve those for Bella's. I mean, someone could park there and go over to the bookstall. I don't know how to do that. But I think that the issues of employees of the restaurant using those spaces, we know that that is not allowed, but it happens. I think that should be in the license agreement. I think that the musician setting up in front of Bella's should not be allowed. That should be in the license agreement. I know there's an expectation. And most importantly, I think that there should be no setup of any nature. There should be no tables, cones, no nothing until 5 o'clock from the sidewalk on out, because they have customers that are walking up and down that sidewalk, and at 5 o'clock, at 4:45, if it starts, it shouldn't, they're in the way of her customers. Hang on one second. So I think that it's in the license agreement, it says that the service area cannot be set up before 5 o'clock, but that does not preclude activity going on the sidewalk. It shouldn't happen on the sidewalk, I know that, but it should be in the agreement that there can be no cones, there can be no tables on the sidewalk getting ready to be pulled out. It should just be open until 5 o'clock, and then they can go. I think they should be able to set up through space 4, and if space 5 is open, they can do it. But I do not think that this license agreement goes far enough to protect a good business of ours in this town and a neighbor that I think has experienced the fallout from a policy that I think is a good policy that we instituted. We've gone these number of years. We should make this stronger. I think my understanding, and Toko can tell me if I'm wrong on this, aside from that spot 5, which is maybe, we'll call it a flex spot, if you will, I think everything we've talked about with the employee parking, the setup, the musician, I think the expectation is there, but I think it should be in the license agreement. I think it should, I don't think that's a big change. I don't think that should be this is a gift out there. I mean, and it's a gift to Winnetkins, all of the customers of Toco and Good Grapes. And I would also point out, and if you looked at what we're going to talk about next with the Good Grapes and some of the letters that came in, some of those letters talked about the neighbors of Teresa's and how Teresa and the neighbor have collaborated to address this very issue of parking, and if their customers go past 5 o'clock. Teresa, if I understand it correctly, has agreed, if Hair Couture or whatever has a customer parked out in front, that she will hold off on setting up until that customer car is gone. That's what we're talking about here, but it hasn't happened. This has been not a good situation, guys, and I think that it's been a good situation for the restaurant and the residents and the people that come from Chicago to go to Toco, and really good for activating that area, but this has not been good for a neighboring retailer, and we need to make this stronger, in my opinion.
Other thoughts? No. Other thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you guys on board with Bob here?
I think the
Did you
rules.
get a good list there, Rob?
Yeah, I think those are all reasonable. I mean, I understand there's been some bad experiences, but I think there's some really positive accommodations. You know, we can't guarantee that every elderly person is going to get a parking space in front of a business.
We're not going to do this on the fly.
Right, and that's a tough situation. Just for the record, I would say that a lot of Winnetkins frequent Toco. You know, it's not just Chicago residents. I just wanted to, yeah. Yeah.
But I do know that Toco draws
Yeah, from a
from
wider.
outside the area,
Yeah.
which is to his credit. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it. And I think that, from what I understand, I think Elena, has supported Toco. I mean, this is not, this is not needed to be the way we are today.
Right.
And so I think we just have to lurch it back, get it on. Both Liz and Kristen have assured me that they will be monitoring what's going on over there to make sure it's going better. The police department, I think they talked to Chief O'Connell. He's aware that this is a sensitive situation, but I don't see any reason why we can't put this stuff into the license agreement.
Yep.
I think clearer rules will make good neighbors, and I think the spirit of what you're trying to do won't be harmed. It protects the other businesses. I think it's all common sense. It's not a huge change. It's just being very clear.
Okay, unlike an ordinance that we can kind of modify on the fly, we cannot modify an agreement like this on the fly.
Okay.
So Bruno, we're going to bring it back next time with these modifications. You'll obviously be able to look at it and talk through it and everything. But on this particular application, I think we're going to have to defer it to the next meeting.
Well,
So do I need to vote for that?
Just say without objection.
Without objection? Okay, so this item will be deferred to the next meeting so that the agreement can be modified basically to address some of the things that Trustee Dearborn's brought up, and we'll be back here on what's the next?
21st, right?
21st.
Would we want to add some of the provisions, though, like that musicians can't set up in,
Yeah.
They'll be able to do all that.
in the other ones? No employees in these parking, or some of these sound like sort of standard refinements we should be adding to all the licenses?
It sounds to
not
me
just-
like that has not been a problem.
Okay,
On
so
the north side. That's now, maybe Teresa wouldn't mind if they were added. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Because
think
to me,
it's
it's
been an
almost sounds like
issue.
this is new
But I-
standard language we should work into them, but if it's not worth postponing these other ones.
I think we can just bring this, hopefully this agreement with just expectations that are already there. It shouldn't be an issue, and in 2 weeks we can,
This will not harm anybody's business, but it will help other people's businesses.
Okay.
Can I ask just a quick question, though? And I'm sorry, don't want to belabor the point, but I thought last summer, because the work was being done in the little Moffett Mall Park, right? Can't the little, what do we call it? Yeah. It's now has electrical outlets, as I remember, right? So could the musicians set up within that park area?
No, that's pretty sacred ground there. You're not going to start setting up entertainment in the mall.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say, I'm not going to have a position this year. Well, last year, I spent a $20,000 position, so no position. Don't worry about position. I'm not going to have it. It's fine. It's take money.
Well,
And one thing about the cones were put in there because it says 5 o'clock p.m. and no parking. If the people don't see why, the village put at the sign, but most of the time people don't look at those signs. So the cones were there just to show people that 5 o'clock there was the parking. Maybe, if I have 2 parking decks, I'm sorry, there'll be a 6 o'clock, usually 6:30. The guy play right there at the little corner by Bella. She's close, that's why we did it. But we're not gonna have any more positions.
okay. Well, at least you'll, Bruno,
I think I want to say, we do bring also not only Winnetka, but we also bring a lot of revenue tax and sales.
a lot of businesses do. Okay, Bruno, we got to get moving here. We got a lot of work to do. So here's the deal. You come back on the 21st. You guys will be talking in the meantime, and then we should be okay.
Whatever decision you make, I'm fine, I'm in peace.
Okay.
Give me the street, give it to me.
Okay, thanks, Bruno. All right, next item up is resolution number R25, 2024, approving an outdoor dining agreement with Good Grapes, and this is up for adoption. Council will consider Good Grapes' request for an outdoor dining on Chestnut Court. And Kristen will take us through this one.
So similar to our previous agenda item, Good Grapes has submitted a request to close the north side of Chestnut Court between May 1st and September 30th of this year, Tuesdays through Saturdays from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., and on Sunday from 4:30 to 10. Key provisions of the license agreement are similar, but this year, music will be permitted in the outdoor service areas on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. That the intent of that was to address the competing music issue. And then additionally, Teresa has 2 special events, Saturday, July 20th and Saturday, September 14th, that we've added to the license agreement with the consensus of TOCO that is in the licensed area. We removed the COVID-19 provisions. We did reduce the licensed area by the 2 parking spaces on the southeast corner of Chestnut Court. And again, the street closure will not happen during April and October due to weather. So do you have any questions about the Good Grapes agreement?
Any questions? Okay, do we have any public comment on this item?
Hi. So I'm here to request that you approve the proposal, the ordinance. I had as written, but whatever are those other provisions you want to add, I don't have any concerns with those. And, being able to close the north side of Chestnut Court is good for Good Grapes, as well as it's good for the West Elm Business District. The business owner parking survey included participants from 28 different municipalities, and Good Grapes attracted 1 or more people from all 28 different municipalities. And 100% of the people who attend live music at Good Grapes have attended other events in the community. And we're also frequently, want to stick with that 5 o'clock opening because, our business model is very different, and a significant portion of our revenue is pre and post dinner drinks. People going before dinner because they don't want to sit inside at the restaurant, and then post dinners, they just don't want to go home when it's nice out, so they can kind of hang out. And for some reason, and I don't know why, other than I think it's a scene, I get many more customers when I close the street so they can sit in the street versus the sidewalk. It's just significantly different. We also offer a budget-friendly option that's been really key. My average age of customer base has dropped, and that's because of our outdoor seating. We're the budget option. So we do wine by the bottle, no corkage fee, and reasonably priced charcuterie. So we're very different than like Pomeroy or Toco. And as a result, we've really brought in a much younger crowd. And so closing the street at 5 p.m. is essential for the pre-dinner, the Sippin' Saturdays, which is going to be a weekly tasting, live music set up in order to get it on time. And I'd add that while the lease says till 10 o'clock, my live music stops at 9, and that's out of respect for the residential residents. If people are tipping them big, they might go till 9:15, 9:30, but there's never been live music past 9:30. At Good Grapes, and that is strictly because after the first year of feedback from the residential residents, and potentially Cornhole League and other events. I'm a good neighbor to both my commercial and residential residents. As indicated in the letter packet, I work to avoid the conflicts. And really, I talk to all, I'm constantly in communication with the residential residents as well as Elena, and out of a respect for the residential residents, I've committed not to have, unlike my neighbor, the same musician every single night playing the same songs in the same order. Like we try and get a little bit more variety. And I would just respectfully remind, the last time we were here talking, Kristen touched on this, about the outdoor seating post-COVID. There was you guys made the decision, those that were here at the time, was that the 40-ish parking spots for Lakeside between Elm Street behind the building and the parking lot is more than sufficient, and that you would treat each application separately. So the conflicts on the south side of the street are completely related to me. So I would ask that you would approve the permit as it's written, and I don't believe I've done anything to cause changes. Thank you for your time.
Okay, anybody else? Bring it back up here. Any comments?
I think since we deal with these one by one, that in this case, with all of the neighbors' support and everything, we should just go ahead and grant this one today, that there's no reason for it to be delayed.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Can I have may I have a motion to adopt resolution number R2524?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Apatow?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. All right, next item is resolution number R27-2024, approving a non-exclusive agreement for the use of Winnetka property for the Winnetka Music Festival. It's up for adoption, and Kristen's back on the mic for this one.
Okay, well, Chris, before we begin, I'll be recusing myself from this discussion because I provide accounting service.
Gotcha.
Thank you, President Rintz and Council. The annual Winnetka Music Festival began in 2019 or 17 and is co-sponsored by the Village of Winnetka and the Winnetka Northfield Glencoe Chamber of Commerce. We're here before you this evening to request approval of a non-exclusive agreement for the ability for the 2022 festival on June 14th and June 15th. The agreement is essentially identical to the prior year agreement with the exception of the date updates. So with that, I do have the ability to answer any questions, and Scott Myers is also here. He wants to give a brief presentation.
Great.
So are there any questions for me?
What's your password?
Okay, now I have to back up because you interrupted me when I was typing it in.
That was not nice.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Since this is the 8th time here, I will assume that pretty much everyone knows what the Winnetka Music Festival is. This is for the 2024 festival. And, you know, I think that everyone here has been to it, knows the impact that it has had, and how residents are, I think, looking forward to the festival. This year's festival will mirror last year and the year before in that it will be Friday and Saturday, starting Friday at 5 o'clock. We have 4 stages, the 2 main outdoor stages, the chapel stage, as well as then the family stage on Saturday, along with food and food trucks, the local restaurants, as well as beer and wine. The footprint is the same as in past years, where we will be basically looking to close off from Elm and Green Bay to Elm and Arborvitae. Bob did want his house inside the fence this year, but we declined that offer. And then from Lincoln Avenue at Oak Street all the way up to Lincoln Avenue on Pine. And in terms of the support that the village gives, it obviously, this festival just couldn't be done without the support. And it's not just kind of people ticking the boxes, as I've said before up here. I think the commitment, the passion, the excitement of not just public safety, but public works and the whole village staff in really, in enabling this to run so seamlessly, so safely, and in such an enjoyable way is, goes well above and beyond what would be expected. So we're hoping that year 8 will be another big success. People probably saw the announcement of the bands, and we are doing ticket sales for Winnetka residents only from now until Friday, actually now until next Monday. And we have special discounts for Winnetka residents now, and mailers are going out, and also we're going to be working with Josie to get an email out, something in this Friday's newsletter for all Winnetka residents. So that's where we're at. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Scott? Rob.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, Rob.
And I'll just kind of to Terry as well. I think there was better coordination last year between the festival and the business owners who were impacted, I believe. Any
Yes and no. I mean, we still, honestly, we've still got to work out some bugs. I mean, I think that the big challenge is, quite honestly, on Thursday. I think we need to do a better job with Public Works in terms of defining when parking is going to be stopped in different areas. That wasn't communicated real clearly. But we know we've got to be talking more, and we're setting up our first meeting in early April, and we've got, in terms of the dialogue, that's always open. We still just have to keep working bugs out on this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jump in, anybody? Nothing? Okay. That's good. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw the lineup today, and I thought maybe.
Oh, the Pope is coming.
Yeah.
What band is he in?
The first one. Public comments. Does anybody have any comments? Come on up. Now I know. Hi, John.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Phelan. I live at 711 Oak Street, the condos at the corner of Oak and Lincoln. I'm the president of the association over there, and I'm here in that regard tonight. The driveway to our parking lot is about a third of the way up Lincoln Avenue on the east side of Lincoln, basically behind stage 2 for the music festival, or as we call it, backstage. When making plans for street closures, we ask that you keep access to our driveway and the parking lot open at all times. We do need full access to that driveway to allow our owners, a lot of whom are old, to be able to get in and out of the parking lot during the festival. Either a manned barricade at Oak and Lincoln or a pass-through there where residents can drive in and out would be a great solution. Last year, we ended up working with the Public Works Department and the Police Department to keep that area clear. We did have a couple of issues, but we were able to work our way through them. And we'd appreciate your consideration, and we look forward to the music festival.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Would anybody else like to share their thoughts? Seeing none, we'll bring it back up. Any comments, questions? Okay. Then may I have a motion to adopt resolution number R2724?
So moved.
Second?
That's a roll call vote.
Trustee Apatow?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Orsick?
Yes.
That motion carries, thank you, and look forward to, this is kind of summer night, right? Outdoor dining, the music fest, this is awesome. Where's the 4th of July float? Well, that was last week. All right, our next item here is resolution number R28, 2024, approving an agreement with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors for the 2024 Rehabilitation and Public Improvement Project. Tonight, council will review and consider the proposed contract for the 2024 Street Rehabilitation Public Improvement Project. Assistant Village Engineer Obaid Khalid is here to review. Take it away.
Thank you, President Rins. Good evening, everyone. I will try to make it short. So I'm Obaid, and I'm here to present the 2024 Street Rehabilitation Program. I would like to start with a quick overview of the project. So the Street Rehabilitation Project is part of our annual capital improvement program, which we do annually to perform the roadway infrastructure maintenance and the improvement. That includes road resurfacing, reconstruction, roadway patching, storm sewer improvement, and sidewalk improvements. Also, this program jointly coordinated with Water and Electric Department to include the water main replacement project. Typically, engineering department design and develop this program with the coordination of Water and Electric and Public Works Department in the month of August and October, and go out to the bid in the early year to get the good bid prices. So in this slide, you can see the map for this year program, where you can see the list of the streets that are scheduled for this year with the scope of the work, starting from Spruce Street, from Locust to Birch, that is scheduled for the water main replacement project and the road resurfacing. The installation of the water main on this section will be the continuity of the water main project, which we did last year, and we are picking up the new water main where we left it last year. The next street is Cherry Street from Locust to Birch, with a similar scope of work, water main replacement and the road resurfacing. Also, there are few streets that are scheduled to be resurfaced this year, including the section of Walden Road, Rosewood Avenue, Locust, Providence, and Wilson, as you can see in this map. So this is the complete program for this year we plan. This is the quick overview of the total budget for this year program. As this program is based on the multiple work, so the budget is based on the multiple budget items like payment patches, street maintenance, and the water main funds for the water main replacement projects. And with that, the total budget amount for this year program was $3.46 million. So we went to the bidding in January, and on February 21st, we opened our bids. Here is the table. You can see the two bids we received and the original proposed amount from each bidder. As you can see, the apparent low bidder is A-Lamp Contractor, and they provide the bid proposal of about $4.25 million, which is over the total budget of $3.46 million. So during the careful analysis of each bid, staff found out that there are the bid prices for several items went up significantly as compared to the average annual CPI. In this table on this slide, you can see some of those items. As you can see, the water main installation cost for per linear foot went up 60% as compared to the last year pricing, which makes a significant impact on the overall cost. Similarly, the cost for curb and gutter, sewer structure and the storm sewer also went up more than the average annual increases. So these significant cost increase and market variations are difficult to anticipate during the development of the budget. So the bids came higher than the approved budget and the estimate. So to address the differences of the costs, staff modified the scope of work for the Cherry Street with the coordination of the Water and Electric Department based on the priority of the water main replacement and the road condition of the Cherry Street section. Originally, Cherry Street is scheduled from Glendale to Birch, which are the 4 blocks of the street. With the modification, the scope of the Cherry Street limits to 2 blocks, which is from Locust to Birch, and then the 2 blocks from Glendale to Locust are eliminated from this year program to allow the project to proceed with the approved budget. And then the eliminated 2 section of the street will be reprogrammed next year for the water main replacement. So with this modification, all the bids were modified. As you can see in the table, ALM contractor is still the apparent low bidder, and their bid proposal amount came down under 3.3 million, which is under the approved budget of 3.46 million. So with that, staff is recommending the council to consider to adopt the resolution to award the contract to the ALM contractor with the amount not exceed to 3.3 million, which is under the approved budget.
Great.
And with that, I'm happy to answer any question.
Any questions for Obed?
Obed, I do have can we talk about this budget thing a little bit?
Yeah.
So we proposed for our budget that we discussed in late October, and this is, I'm not coming at you on this, I just want to understand it. In October, you did the budgeting in August. 6 months later, it's way out of whack. I don't understand. I'm a little confused on how that happens. I mean, I know prices went up. We knew prices were going up. We knew there were supply chain logistics, blah, blah, blah. So my one question is, how did that happen? And then 2, what's the implication of this? Are we, for future, are we just moving everything down the road in years? Is that what's, I mean, we don't know the pricing and we don't know blah, 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 but that's essentially what we're seem to be doing, is stretching out the whole program.
So typically when we develop the budget, we always utilize the most latest and updated pricing, what are available on the market and what are available on our database. And then we always increase those prices based on the CPI, which is usually typically 5 to 7%. We never expect that the prices went up 60% or 25% for the several items. But just to just for your point, like what we analyze, we see the cost for the water main is going up, although we also compared the cost of the water main, which is happening in the other project, like a storm sewer improvement project. We are replacing the water main in those projects as well. But over there, the costs are kind of a steady, but in this program, the costs are went up. There is no good reason we get from the contractors, but on our understanding that because these projects are more residential, there is more coordination required. Contractors sometimes have to be on a wait time because, as council know, the new state law regarding the lead services. So now water department managing the lead service program and giving the opportunity for the resident to replace their portion of the lead service while we are doing the construction. So that bring more coordination, more complexity for this kind of residential water replacement project, which can be one cause that the cost of the water main went up as compared to the last year's.
But do we reach out to the contractors? I mean, we do a lot of work with ALAMP. Do we reach out to them in August when we're thinking about this and get a sense of what they think the pricing could be? I mean, it seems like just like a huge miss on the budget. And if we knew this, we might say, well, let's budget differently and commit the money for this versus that. I mean,
I think we're seeing a lot of variability in the marketplace, and I don't think for municipal work, we've actually seen it settle to something more consistent. There's a lot of work going on in the area, so that is also having an impact on the labor costs. As Obed mentioned, there's a lot of water main work going on related to the lead replacement, and that's also had an impact on the market. This year, the areas that we were, particularly with the Cherry area, is bringing back a couple of blocks, but it may actually coordinate well with the next conveyance portion of the stormwater project so that we could actually do that all at one time. So this year, it kind of makes sense to contract, get a better sense of what's going on in the market, and still hit one of the top 10 areas where the water main needs to be replaced.
Well, I guess I would say on that, Rob, is that makes sense. And I'm glad that the staff shifted and accommodated and worked within the budget.
Yeah.
But I would say that given the amount of road work we have in water main replacement, we need to sharpen those pencils to the extent we can.
Well, I think Obed mentioned we escalated between 5% and 7%, which was beyond the rate of inflation as we knew it at that time. We may have to significantly take it up depending upon how the market is playing. We do have the ability, Obed, to work with the MPI group, the municipal consortium, and we'll get a sense of what those bid data sets look like.
Yeah.
And that'll help inform us too.
Can I ask a quick question? Because looking at this, it looks like you've got at least 600,000 increase just on iron pipe. Tells me that that's based on the original engineer's estimate, which I'm assuming we used for the budget.
Right.
And
Yes.
so we were using real cost analysis when they were building the budget August to October, based on real costs in the marketplace. And it looks like there's just it's alarming how quickly those costs jump just for iron pipe.
Right.
Which is probably because everybody is forced to replace their water main because of the lead pipe. Yeah.
Right.
But that's just shocking, to your point, how quickly that cost, was out of whack from what our engineer's estimate was. I mean, we're not picking these, when we do the budget, we're relying it on an engineer's estimate.
And we've adjusted our work schedule to be able to hit the marketplace in January when it's typically the best time to bid. We only had 2 bidders. I was actually hoping we'd have.
So I guess that's a question. I mean, there's not a lot we can do if the contractor who's bidding is supplying the raw material like these iron pipes. Is there a municipal consortium that can buy the raw materials?
It's something we can look at.
Okay.
That's a good question. I agree. And to your point, Bob, I don't know how you sharpen your pencils when you have 60% increases. And I just don't know if you go out of state to Indiana or Wisconsin or somebody does in the same type of situation right now because of those kind of increases. And we have to do as much more as we have to do. I'd sure find a different way if we could.
Re-estimating is going to be a big part of the work in the coming year, but it could be a one-year blip too, just based upon the supply, the availability of the material, how much work is going on at that particular time, what do their contract books look like. Any number of factors can.
Well, and the other thing to remember is, look, we only got 2 bids, so the market's telling us that they're busy, and this is not highly desirable work. It's in the neighborhoods, you're dealing with a gazillion homeowners. It's kind of like being a remodeler. And there's just not a lot of remodelers of public infrastructure running around out there. Used to be able to pull some people from the other games in, but now with this water main replacement, we can thank the folks in Springfield for creating a new market for underground utilities, right? Because every community is dealing with this, and we get stuck once again. So we do have the option of rejecting all the bids and just either rebidding it or sending it out again next year. I mean, I know that's not a popular option, but we do have that option, Bob, if you're that uncomfortable.
Yeah, no,
with where it is.
I think they did a good job. I think we're just pushing it out, and maybe next year will be better. You know?
So, any questions, comments?
And just one thing like to mention that the water main installation cost is including a couple of work, like is not only the material but the excavation they have to take place, and then the backfilling and then the pavement. So if you see the items, it's also seems like the underground work, which requires the excavation, like a storm sewer, like the storm structure, that also went up, which is also sum up the addition in the water main installation cost.
Okay, all right, well, let's move this forward. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number R2824?
So moved.
That's a roll call vote.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Apatow?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
That motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Obed.
Thank you, President.
Okay, item 9, old business, there is none. Item 10, new business, there's none. Item 11, appointments, there are none. And item 12 is closed session. I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing pending and probable or imminent litigation pursuant to Section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Second?
It's not done.
Oh, took a breath.
There's more.
Sorry.
You took a breath, yes.
Retracted.
Look at these sentences. I mean, nobody talks like this. Okay, under the motion, when we adjourn the closed session, this meeting will automatically and immediately adjourn without the conduct of any further business or comments. May I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Apatow? Trustee Albinson?
Yes. That motion carries. We are adjourned for the evening. Thank you.
I did. I'm just checking right now. It reminded me. I don't know if we sent it in or not. Maybe you checked.